video will be on Palestine, and I will be doing this video due to RFK Jr.'s comments on Palestine. The name Palestine comes from Paliset, which means people of the sea. It was found in Egyptian hieroglyphics dating back to 1150 BC. Roman wars in the country killed 580,000 natives. In the 1st century, most of the 2.5 million Palestinians were Jewish. By the 4th century, Christians were 75% of the population of 2.5 million. By the 13th century, Palestine's population was 225,000 and it was mostly Islamic. In the 16th century, Selim I annexed Palestine in the war against the Mamluks. Under Ottoman rule, Palestine's Muslim population went from 145,000 to 525,000. The Christian population went from 6,000 to 70,000. The Jewish population went from 5,000 to 94,000. In the First World War, Ottoman Turkey was a central power, and it was known as the sick man of Europe due to its imperial decline. Half a century earlier, it had been able to defy the world's most powerful empire by saving Irish people during Angkor War. Bear with me 1 moment. In 1916, the British and French made the Sykes-Picot Agreement. This led to French occupation of Syria and Lebanon, as well as British occupation of Iraq, Jordan and Palestine. It was a carve-up of the old Ottoman territories, engaging in opportunism due to Turkish decline. In 1917, the British government made the Balfour Declaration. This meant the British government supported the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine. Lloyd George, Arthur Balfour and Walter Rothschild supported Zionism to increase British imperial influence. Arthur Balfour was known for being Britain's Chief Secretary for Ireland, who ordered the RIC to shoot 3 people in Mitchelstown, Cork in the Land War during 1887. Ronald Storrs said the purpose of the Balfour Declaration was to create a loyal little Jewish Ulster in a sea of potentially hostile Arabism. In other words, to create an equivalent of the 6-county state in the Middle East. Ronald Storrs described himself as the first military governor of Palestine since Pontius Pilate. At the beginning of the British occupation, there were 589,000 Muslims, 71,000 Christians and 84,000 Jews in Palestine. In 1931, there were 760,000 Muslims, 89,000 Christians and 175,000 Jews. In 1947, there were 1,181,000 Muslims, 143,000 Christians and 630,000 Jews. The Jewish population increase is a 7.5-fold increase in a quarter of a century. 60,000 Jews went to Palestine in 1936, and this led to the Arab Revolt. In the Arab Revolt, 5,000 Palestinians were killed by British forces and Zionist terrorists. 500 Zionist terrorists and 262 British soldiers were killed in the Arab Revolt. Haganah participated in the Arab Revolt, and they had participated in the 1929 riots, in which over 232 Palestinians were killed. The Second Polish Republic provided military training and weapons to Haganah. In 1940, Haganah bombed the Patria, killing 267 people. Bergen split from Haganah in 1931 and killed 700 Palestinians and 100 Britons before the creation of the Zionist state. I'd be here all day if I was to list every massacre by Haganah, Bergen and Lehi during the British occupation of Palestine. Needless to say, the aforementioned groups formed the core of the Zionist state's military. During the 1948 Nakba, 800,000 Palestinians were forcibly